Mmra No Se Sen ewo UTV na so na wo hwe me last week na ye twetwe nkomo afa surrogacy ho ene meda so ne lawyer Sena Hoto a oye private legal practitioner ewo Asare Berima and Associates ene wo me studio ha me ne no twetwe nkomo na Madam Debbie Saka oye social worker one menhye Child and Family Welfare Service ena aye djuma lawyer ene Madam Saka akwaba you last week em say twhwe yen komo na bedu baby at termination ene ye kan say wuntumi nsori ene mabre na wayeyi yen fa ne say mesan ko ebia me na me carry eyi no ebia na agreement no makoye bibia sebio fata say wo se meye na nyinsen ne say ya wo mo commission me no wo mo otumi wo Mmra Na Se se wo mo ebetumi assume.
Yes.
Asamame.
Because we know niamode monsasha se no a contract. I say wo koto ade na one buyer ne seller ni na nia oto no ene nia oto no mode monsasha krata se aka say nia me to ni me de ko na enye sa na ti amesa de aba anasa obetua me say once mode mumienu nyina de monsa secret asese obe carry a baby na mame we so say me so me provide the eggs ne sperm no ne genetic material ni nyina na we are one party are performing a part one of the parts there was our agreement and compensation to more agree one be a part payment or provide certain facilities for you with tier for the IVF process. Why all those things? The agreement and also a war termination, the consequences of termination. So there and also what I say, if at this stage, medically, 1, 2, 3, 4, na a dear a bit to me ama what terminate. Another thing is a mummy and a move to me a coming together more agree some on terminate. But apart from near mana mungina matana say agree no. Any other thing no will come or liability ni see as a say bia also will share this amount back as one more seek or more spend it up to now no maybe more agree say so we terminating at this point whatever is due you no one farm and now whatever they spend maybe I'll be 80%, 50% a year agreement mungina mutumetenas na mwaka then you come to a conclusion.
Okay. All right. Inti akwala yen hwe Madam Debbie se akwara no wo na se sebio odidem ana se bi kra akwara no wo no wamba no senia na ye hwehwe na sa akwara no ye ne den niawa commission no otumi so betima aka say akwara no na mehwe na me pakra odimu ne sense ene wa agreement no nti say na ekoba ne say nti bi akwara no mempe ne biem ana so say bia unsa sometimes awo table no so no e bi akwara ne da yefunu mu na mu ko hospital mu ye check bibia ye okay but awo table no so e bia na akwara no say ne nsa na ba first to say ne den na bia wakochia na ye twen ye na mutuo mu bibia ate na odi dem a sa akwara no pay omo commission wetin aka say me mpa biem na nso so on pa biem a sa akra ne ko hin ana mo ye ne den
ontimi nka say me mpa biem ontimi en ohun akola na mo ma me mpa biem na wada ne ho na ne me akola na me nya ne amenya ne me mpenti me ko ontimi nya ne sa agreement na normally almost sign no ewo there's a portion of the agreement that say whatever form akola ne ba no omo commission say yen wo akola obesom na owo ho no say okowo na bibinti wawo wankasa wanyinsen afa yefun awo ba na bibinti wontimi nhwe na Mmra no wo ekwan a efaso a obeya abofra no eba kodi Mmra ne nsem ama omodi ama nia obetimi ahwe no enti no se what commission say young work or say ye one kasa with DNA and I say any one kasa with DNA as long as wire agreement na doctor aye procedure ama abababi say on cross and saying mawo
send your
baby ni bia no wo dia
obesom number 2 yes anko so biem akwara na ya wo no why before I before me ba me question me say nipa na o wo akwara no sebio enta wo be wo akwara no na wo mo commission no so sebio oba na ka baby a mo ye ne
say
oba na ma commission wo se sebio wo akwara no mame but before I be wo akwara no ya wo agreements ni bibia obi amfosi say obi be ka baby na enso so mato sebio mini hobiem sa akwara no ye be ne say ebia na ka akwanhie bi na maame no ne papa ne nyina ebia na omo ba hospital ho aba besraw na omo ka baby ye be chi akwara na ma sa omo commission no ne family ana say akwara no baje na ko social welfare ana say nipa na o carry akwara no be fa akwara no
okay who say anyoma we ni na no a matter of contract and if you get to either an agency and now get a lawyer involved, you're looking at all these possibilities. And once all these possibilities, no, you're heading in no, it's all agreed as to whether akrano, the parentage of the child, and say akrana ya want na seven your commission naka baby no, who will get custody of that child, and it means that in that process, no. Then that child will have to be adopted by a person who is not one commission sakrano. You get what I mean? And it is either say the agreement is saying say one so be to your commission a friend of intended parents and remember your friend intended parent IP. So to be to IP now if you are no more trans more agree so be to IP now me fa krano. But then more put some resources be able to escrow for say a situation where see a crano ya the better akra way or two even if baby see one of the parents one of the IPs and so usually the husband and wife and a more agree until say husband na baby the wife will still take that child. So it's a matter of agreement. What you have agreed.
The reason why say and pen bebre ye my emotion ankofo bebre yes ade we a wo mu disi wo mu nka nkyerɛ wo busuafo wo mu nim me nso so na sebe ma agree say major akra na to me yem no me nya ready say me wo afa akra no enti say me wie na mo anka nkyerɛ mo maame ana mo papa na mo nua bi ana say na say I mean especially when you take the traditional one na sebio akra na ye mo DNA no a on fa me ho hwe no na say sebio mu ni ho na mo ebusuafo anje akra na sa akra me pese me hu me ye to sa akra because if you are not parents a family in Subeka say yes you need the technical know-how ana you need ahudi a ye be ewo ba mpofrem
yes
enti sa akwala no ye ne ko so
fane say enye surrogacy kra na we ena wafa yefunu obusuafo nim ana say one of the parties no afa yefunu na so oni obi afa yefunu a o partner enim ena waka baby sa kra no if nipa koda na fa yefunu no onye interested in that baby the question is what process na sa nipa krona wafa yefunu amount whether it's surrogacy or natural birth or in between mummy no na mo agree no there's a process that you can give up or relinquish your child to the social welfare and if for some reason one making any provisions for it Ghana mremo no akrabia ye let me use it for the loose sense your mind dear and your mind and happiness o ma no papa o mo also for time being and sebe if all your parents are not there and there's nobody to take care of you o mind geneba and at that point no o mind no there's a process we will go through akra no ebe back to o mind nsem at that point now o mind no age akra na atoho omo institution I heard all those in Krano so obi a ono so have a challenge with giving birth no bit me apply to a mind say oh me marry be 20 years in worry we're not having kids you person be adopting then that's it
me you be hold this thought na ma because later e be ba for ye discuss adoption na because in period be to me who say Ghana obi kra ko adopt akola na wofo ni wo a na ebusuafo no aba baby bi ho nti ye do ho no mam say ye person about topic we so bi ma me sign be say at what point e was ade we mu na ye ka say omo commission no be ye bibi say the legal parents of akola no
so okay you take it
yes. This is okay largely legal but say yawo abofra na ewie and I say my agreement no senya Mmra No Se Sen no na mako through medical procedure no Mmra No kwan say within the first 3 months nyinsen ye be confirm pregnancy no obeko court akoje dia ye friend no the pre-birth
so at this point you know within the first 12 weeks in fact say work before say you be work and after say be work there's a legal process out be fem akrano obey the parent obey the child of a commission or the IPs into one within 12 weeks of when a fertilization is done will be to me a court no I make application either directly or on behalf of you through your lawyers.
Yes, so senior lawyer kano obe court through your lawyers na judge amao what we call the parental birth order, the post birth or the pre-birth parental order. No move you from a stage of intended parents to parents of the child.
And we will say over any time before akola ne beba no.
Before akola ne beba no, oko court, o share lawyer no mako court amao.
Even after the agreement.
After the agreement. The agreement no one of the tools or the court. And no the by attached with documents at their court. At your court and they say on the basis of agreement abaya kita nyinsen mame and I say ya in Sheshaya or hospital we fire fun na ye per se ebano bebano awo ebebano na court amayen ho kwan say ye for sakola no na just say agreements ni mu nyina no na mo ye intended parents munya parents yet mo ye intended parents mo na ma commission say yen wo sa abofra ne ma ha na so bibi nti wenti mi anko within that first 12 weeks no after ya transplant na ya wo abofra na wie no after the first 12 weeks no won't mean court ni biom now so ya wo abofra na wie no within the first 6 months of the child's life no utimi court ekoje sa order yayi but in this time no a post birth parental order na say ya wo abofra na chi no now court akoje post birth parental order clothing you and on the share was atare na say oh yeah legal parents
okay yen hold you aha na yen kwaje nkwato Mmra No Se Sen wo UTV kwaje nkwato ye ba ye beto aso no se sen wo UTV so ene yen komo na ye guso aye twetwe no efa awo ma ehu ena before aye beko break no na kire say ye discuss at what point oma commission ana oma fo obi sese bio nipa no enwo ma wo mo no at what point ena omo be ye awofo of akwalaya ye ka ne ho asem nti lawyer
nti wo commission Accra there are two ways Accra no be over legally
they say ya court na but me say ye ko break no na ye ka say wa apply to court we for agreement in the court
yes na wa apply to court in either before Accra ye be wa Accra no or after say ya wa Accra no but there's also another situation say ya wo Accra ni wie no na you were not around for some reason na IP no sorry the surrogate no has decided sa akra no memfa no ma no akwa register akra no din immediately you akọ or they call a birth and death. I mean, you register crano in the database. Once I wore the contract, which is the surrogacy agreement, or usually a crano or many DNA test and then all of that into proof of parentage, and then affidavits and all the other documents. Now I put it together, and your lawyer be court, be jina one name. At this time, you're moving in a judge, no. Actually, say, me a mami echo agreement. And she say, I call you no. Ye G2 muse within this period, no be carry me ba na obe relinquishing the right to that child. It doesn't take away the say mami na say more traditional one now. It doesn't take away the facts or no na any mami natural biological mother. But as soon as that order is given, Mmra no I say a trim into say on to me new idea crave into new parents no court no say besa another order directed at the registry of the birth and death say a dina ma menedi na dia shem no omun trim omun trim. So we illegally expunge it from the records.
It is a mate was here. Some traditional masses say ye may na me ye career no say ye me egg impo. Ne ye DNA. Na say ye tresa cranny ye me diacra na. Once a contract na ya ye no wa mako court.
Yes.
Say me na me legal parents no. Wait nipa no wait me aja cranny for me.
Yes, because no na mo je two mu. Mo de share here. Until there's no point to say ye wie na akra na ba no ebi ohu akra no ho ye ne fedodo nti oh chale me ba no ho me fedodo me pese me de akra no be ma we biom and there are cases in court surrogate no on it one commission or court fighting the custody of the child but the point is Mmra has specifically made provision for things like this in the Birth and Death Amendment Act.
Mmra, does it make provision for some right to be? Because me who for the surrogate mother say, oh, ebia, you ever say biologically no, uhunsuo ewa akrani, especially a traditional one now. Uhunsuo wa akrani munti ebia ubenya some rights be to the child. And I say once a surrogate no, or relinquish it.
Yes, you are relinquishing. So who agree from the beginning say who relinquish everything, everything. But then one again no contract ya dia nipa mienu ene tro. If nipa kra or commission no per se or no share some rights which is rare. It almost never happens. But a nipa no person no share some rights, no more some rights in there. No more agree on paper. That's fine. But all what I've seen so far is that me person me yere have full custody of this child. Nobody else can make a paternity or a maternity claim to that child. And see, we make his applications to a court, either post or pre. Na court ni make it order na. Will write as a biological parent to that baby simply because you've carried or a whole genetic material no mu use is gone.
Okay. But maybe bisa say surrogate mother no wa. At what point na eje akra ne fi mother nensem?
It is right at birth.
Oh.
Right at birth.
You know that see more breast milk 6 months.
Eba
no na more my dream will be.
Eba surrogacy die. Surrogate mother no. Or manufo.
The same thing the same.
When say oba wawoba na woman no for that is where the bond is. And all for fronia the abofrane bro we kita kola no there's a bond be what is created. It's natural.
In teacher say wa akra ne
most of the times that we
and
all these
I was saying
all these I explained to the you are walking into an agreement wunim and yes say the be and Yachel said these are the facts. And Nyoma way Akra no at the time I war no at the hospital no say ebi anomo de a film as separate even from the child that akra no kra wo free mu ba out no
na de chen aka say we na
me banini na say me yini and sometimes the agreements be wo they allow for the surrogate mother no to sell milk, breast milk or express and then sell it to the but you will not get to meet that child. It's one of the key here. Both the surrogates, the IPs no, try some prevent here. Because as soon as we start to say who baby no, a mother anyway now, then the bonds no for me, then it becomes difficult. It becomes difficult.
There are times say you share surrogates so through the pregnancy in Impono. Yeah, mass surrogates who say I'm afraid kita we twins and oba and bema. Some information ya nim. So ko hospital na doctor okay abufra we do say na otie and I say no some information in na no surrogate no yemfa ma no. Nti o de an so kita de amobi
ne ehemu
mu de wunim
ba se me hu ne ewo mu an me hu se ne mebo ne ho ban se na lawyer kan ade me hu se emienu a anka e bia anka meje me hu mo ba age wa yi o e bia ba ko but me hu sa ade no e emienu a mienu no ehun sunsun anso na different chain ba ko eno na ade na mo ma me bi nka
eno no usually no say agreement ni mu no ewo mu say ebia omo intended parents no pay multiple children ebi omo pe mienu omo pe miensa nti no say ekoba ne say yes because hospitals omo try some be yama now there's not 100% guarantee say ebe fa
mamim bisa say sometimes utume faithful ye frɛ bibi twins no say wo type ye ba ko bi ankosua ba ko na atumu chetu nti ebia twin no ye ba ko akra no fa ye funu begin no na ye ba ko ene ye hu ye embryo mamim fa ne sa but kwa etire no na emu akwache mu yenu metumi aba back say mon ratify sa agreement no say first na me say ba ko but edu eche no enkwala na ye mienu enti say no mo nsesa agreement na ye na ba ko but say ye mienu ye ntumi nye bibisa
to agreement na be sign so it's important to me say obe sign agreement na make sure that you look at it and our will be amana ahwemu ama because what do you agree on? Yes, there's a clause where, of course, a nipa, and it's not like a so rigid and robotic. At some point, what to make us, and things can be, adjusted.
Okay. Yeah, maybe sa MSA. Yeah, the questions ni ya be we ya no. Se obi ebeye surrogates na se sebio. Amano no yetumi hu say sometimes obi o wa ye surrogate na wa gwewie no ebi especially obi a o ye surrogate ono so aware yetumi hu say ya na akwai te say baby bia ba be ka ho yetumi ka say enkore ya nipa ewu ye ba ko ye surrogate for the dia ba ko nso so ye ono ane dia ye wo cases bi o say baby rise wo Ghana ha sabi obi be carry obi but obi wedu na ebie minim sa approach to make say once I will carry baby no ene wo ho kafo enye bibia but approach there have been cases as sabi so obi mu fa yefu ana sabi o mu libi no ekosoro we tumi anhye ne ho so no ne nipa o ne wo hoda kwakọ ye bibi na afi akra ne bebe na ese nkra ne bia mu yetu a wo be hwem na akola no ne dia ana so pose so fa gestational one no ebi etumi ba na ebi ho na akra na oda ye mu no ebia no abesen kokora we hu na ono akasa afa yefunu we etire but ohu later no ebia no akohu say meshi akra ne okupa akra bi hu yo se me no akohwehwe o sa ankofo we then na nipa na kokota akokas gestation na ye but sa akra we de oye me de nti enka agreement ye nya cases bi sa wa hanom and then ye wo mra no ye wo mra bi e bata instances
before lawyer be
kasam
name in the court say there are cases like that. For young me there we haven't had any such case. A case be aside because criteria again say what warrior usually no my own surrogate because once ojetumu say ube krani say am obi no na che say ube fi baby awo wase
so who two ho ahye totally
completely into ube tu afi wase abetina baby a ye yamao na nipa na oye ade na ma no a che say be say otina baby to say aha a lot of the times no maybe an surrogate no onim intended parents no on shianeda because ni din cry agreement ni mu na ohun ye but onim nipa no and so baby a ote se wase ye no ube fi hono mo abatina baby foforo sa 9 months period no ama 9 months nechi no normally no after 6 weeks say doctor acclare o medically no ya clear sa fe de ohun ye utimi kofie uni any risk bia na fe ye ja wo kwan enti no yes an hye se ne be ya nyame ya wo ken sa complicated issues ye nkohia bi wo kwan so enti no
which means say surrogacy no more agreement no does it provide for aftercare because most of the issues in pregnancy bi so wo kwa na enye bibia you foresee say nipa na won ebi wa problems dey be quite to be after 3 months and san e be to be who say nipa you nya complication no be kwa kwhwehwe na it is linked to the pregnancy bibi sa no Mmra no ekita for after care
so Ghana Mmra na ye won so that edi kan kai no Mmra na ye wo for assisted birth so it's not only only surrogacy there are other forms of assisted birth and said that chere adepote what's a core agreement no unlike other countries to say UK and in the US are almost chere some specific things via for a basic agreement that was say but here DNA wa ha no enim enti it's to a large extent no wo nipa na wo parties no omo decide so omo be yen omo ye omo decide what goes in there and untina say me sister wa hey or my say I'm talking about her because I've worked with them before and more agreement the surrogacy agreements no more drafting the ones we draft on their behalf that they use are very very detailed and it covers a lot more sometimes depending on the nipana or commission we add even aftercare services to it. But for others also, they will say we cannot afford aftercare. And so, no situation, no, na ye surrogates needing come akacha is okay. This particular one, no, provide aftercare. Are you okay with it? Will you bear all the responsibilities? Are you insurance, health insurance, and be a cover for this particular period? And it's subject to negotiation. And as a surrogate, you can also agree, say, yemfa A, B, C, D, and come home. You understand? So that's it.
Okay. And see, Mmra, the most important part. Why ne bit to me, I surrogate. And I suppose why ne bit to me, I do the same funny nambo. Because you can't assisted bet. Say a topic na abroad in kakra. Why ne bet to me? I say me donate me egg, and I say me donate me sperm. Nen so cry no. Omo commission obi no. Omo to me day criteria be ba. Say be me penipa egg ne be amol be ma me no. Me penipa tenten. Me penipa o osuya homa science. And I me penipa o yes o koko. And I penipa tuntu like ya sane mani nyina no. How does the law look at it? My mama auntie there be farmer because I know your recruitment. O she shanko for we ka say me be believe am person me brony.
You know. It happens.
It does happen. But I you can say who can be a surrogate? yɛhwɛ sɛna medi kan yɛhwɛ age no yɛsan so ɛhwɛ sɛ wawo pen nneɛma a meken sɛnea lawyer di kan no mmra ni mu no a little limited nneɛma na ɛhyehyɛ mu no a little limited
still developing
enti no enti mmra nketenkete a ɛwɔ hɔ sɛnea odi kan previously no ni nyinaa ehia ma yetimi enya enough to say na yɛbɛyɛ surrogacy enti oba mi nhye a yɛasɛ no nneɛma a yɛhwɛ yɛbɛka say this is the criteria yɛhwɛ no ne edi kan ne say o fall within the age of 21 to 32 also no say wawo pen another thing a yɛhwɛ say won worry legally onye legally married one ukun ete efie ba ko ne oma enti no efi ho na sa nneɛma miensa yɛhwɛ na say o fall within the criteria na the next thing is for medical to confirm say wo ye obetimi akari nyinsɛn adwene mu nso ete enti no usually wo ba yɛaso ya we have a long conversation yɛne omo bɛyɛ surrogacy yɛne omo kasa pepenin bi nso ɛne omo kasa because yɛpɛsɛ yɛyɛ sure say ɔte aseɛ enim nea ɔba bɛyɛ no ɛma ɔno ankasa agitumu enim nyama risk factors ɛwɔ nyinsan ho nyina because sɛ na medi kan nyinsan kwan no ɛwa nyama bebree ɛwɔ mu enti ɛna ɛsanso yɛ life and death enti yɛma nkrɔfo ɛne omo kasa medically nso so no yɛ check say bibia ɛyɛ okay saa no na fe yɛne wo ayɛ saa agreement no mpo ansa na the IPs no any surrogate no ɛbɛyɛ agreement no na wone yɛn wɔ agreement enti ɛba no IP na we have issues cases IP ne ba o say me penkrani a oyɛ tenten oyɛ nipa kokɔ say me pobi a wako school wako enim kakra oyɛ say me pobi a oyɛ smart because me say me ba ne say nti no of course the more your preferences the less number of people we consider nti na bi say immediately nipa yewo 15 na say criteria na o ka no nipa 3 pe na fit sa criteria na then your options are down to the 3 or there's none na che say you put it out advert na nkofo ba na ya hwe say omobe do sa criteria na wama no sa so na surrogate no ba o say me pe specific me pe obi a obema me say ana obeye say say traditional surrogacy there and then say me ankasa me egg me parents are otise ana otise enti no wabana yene no eya agreement no yenim say IPB ba na bia oye otise ya ye so surrogate we effective criteria no but nyama we say na ono so although oni onya relationship bia with abofra no but eye ne hu bi na continue ono so say na oka it's not just for the intended parents. The intended parents are the only person or what choice.
Okay.
Surrogate necessary to me
Okay. Enti maame fa nipa na me de me questions ni be we. Nipa na me your friend say me commission. Me nye hu egg no ni bibia. Ba me ka be ma specifications of ebia genetical your friend say identity bi a me hwehwe na sese bio sa akra ne ba na akra no me hu say eneme a me kan ABCD me hu akra ne mu a metimi contract mu yetimi repudiate contract no me bo metimi akọ ichire say mempe because because say me pebru ni na mama me bibini say egg no hu egg ne color nti akra na beto ho Into akra no be say na me pe Chinese ni. And mama me Ghana ni Debbie. Because and let me be sad because and ye will be a friend ancestry.com utumi tracy obi genealogy. Inti say ebia no akonu obi na nipa na ba na sese no pe na later be hwehwem na ente saa. Utumi baba catch us say we na me mo sign agency me bi.
Most sometimes as lawyers and as agencies we're a bit careful about some of the requests are IPs ebe make because requests be very difficult to meet. For example, okasa ope broni. Yes, and broni ebe donate the egg and the sperm. But what you don't know, they say na broni na ne papa ye bibini na ne mama ye broni. But ono ba as broni. But there's a high probability so no so nema ba ko betumi aye bibini. And unfortunately for you, the donatee was the bibini you understand? And so some of these things there's very, very limited control. Again, there's so much advancements in these fields, and they say the fertility clinics now, they are able to know. They are able to know. And as much as entertaining the near eyepiece in the panel, within what is acceptable threshold. So the bear and then you be agree on something that's practical. To me, and to say, no person will have a particular type, and a deal breaker. I think say battery at home. So before that is fine.
Last one. Obi betumi aba akasoki me oba me nikuru me ne hukafo ba me peba ba nipa na obe donate ama me no sebi me pese me ni hia me mpe no mfidie mu de na obe kwa kwatwe we de obe kwa kwatwe we de na there. Do we have instances where people come out obe ka say me de me pen natural?
Yes, there are instances like that.
Like a fertilization.
There are instances like that, but they are rare.
Me person anti there because
they are rare.
The agency no. Do we have and no kwa no we na mapa na watch person mu say Mmra no permit bibisa.
Okay.
Said a lawyer can there are instances like that, but they are rare. Answer na oba bi beba na bema bi beba biaka say me person me peba but me pen natural. Oftentimes nebia waye ne nhyehyeye dada no so ke obai mihia no me ka che nse me peba but me peni sei enti no wafa ifunu na minim se mo hwe surrogate for this period enti no me pese me tia na me de na ba na mo ahwe no kosi so obewo owo a se na mo hyehyeye tie wa wo ho with surrogacy sa na me pe no me mpese one abofra no obewo no ebenya any contact sa no ye be share agreement. If you have an agreement, so we need agreements yes, go speak with your lawyers or your lawyer you betimi ne actual only no ebe kasa so that you can come to that agreement. But say young kasa yebe make arrangements say surrogates ni and also open a natural. Go and have your natural way, and when she gets pregnant, and no dear,
okay, that's it. And then there were instances a bema so bet me about bekase me peba. Oftentimes a mad in a yehu, but bema bisu feel se bedum pempen so be me pesa me worry about me so me peba. Onu so bet me about be pesi you get.
If I try, obet me aba.
Me bisasa because no say Mmra no lawyer. We dey farmer me eya empre bebre no e ban kwala ho sha wa we jaye ne custody ni niam na yetim kasa akra uso de ye farmer be ma de bia na yaje akra na ma oba no dum pepe so bia na be ma na be.
Okay. Enti me sa so no waka no when ye custody ho sensema usually enye say enye possible, but usually ye farmer be ma. The assumption is a one be ma no onifie okwedjuma. There's no
maternal instinct
penimu bie wo ho a obehwe no. Thirdly, sakrane oba there is a potential of abuse. You say people are abusing their own children, and you know for some of these reasons, you know, in fact custody, you know, the member, and even that, you know, the age of the Mmra is also important. So Mmra you need to, let's say, above 12, and they can form their opinion and all of that. There are so many factors that are all put it together to decide, say, man no benya custody of the child. Now back to this particular way, you know, it is possible, say, be man bet me custody of the child. The fact that on worry, you know, if they can provide certain things to show, say, or new and also a big crown on the mammy and I say, grandmother be nette, or be provided that home for the child, because ultimately, you know, you can't cry some more crum, ha, Ghana crum, ha, at the back of protect and they are important. The paramount interest of that child.
What you kind of feel so? Say I can't surrogacy who assemble be yatia say you see and never be from who processes near no crown agreement and never who is eligible. A foot to bang and now the bema sebio. Obia obefa near obia sebi or pese on your surrogate though. A foot to bang and now the bema side back on a lawyer also we are near or no so crano eden ne ho ba. E ba be commission obi no kra no ono nso so then no be fast me fancy dey be first
obi a opese o yes surrogate obi a opese o carry abofra eba ema obi no ehun be hia say answer na obe agree to that kind of arrangement no what arrangement na say oni obi so for so esusu ho oftentimes they hear cry say o sign document no na o witness bi a ote ade na we ye na say ene wo ginemu men sign bibia keke endi sika echi enko sign bibia ke wa bra wonte ase enti na me kan bebre say yaso ye ho no ye ne wo nkita hode bebre make sure say woti niama no ase enti say bibi chere wadwen a ye cheche mu you have a lot of time to take a decision and sana will be decided.
Lawyer, we born tough about me.
Okay. Na also no opeba. Na opese obi e carry baby ne mawa. I was making sure say wako first of all no obepe a lawyer and I say obi o legal background. I'll be out through the process. Na I also making sure say Mmra na wo kro na person yen in this case Ghana so no obeye o processes instead the be ya untia Mmra no because obetumi akotwa say scanning na go through the process but sakra no you won't get that child because it's against the law. For example, the laws in Ghana currently are against homosexuality. Okay, it's against it, and so a homo parent will not be allowed to, you know, adopt a child or go through these processes for the purposes say yes, unless say you have not disclosed your sexuality. But what disclosing and Mmra no say once that it is not in the best interest of the child, automatically it's against public policy. And when you be or guide legally through the process, you will end up going through the process and not getting what you want at the end of the day.
Lawyer Sena Hoto we are private legal practitioner wo Asari Berima and associate and Madam Debbie Saka managing director and social worker on the main Child and Family Welfare Service na yeduma Madam Papa say na maba me studio mu ha Mmra No Se Sen wo UTV ene mwasen ahwe surrogacy ya wo ma ene ho nkwala o moba emu sunsun anso processes a befa so me sure say me ne wo yesu ade bebre nti ehu say eba no nkwala say akwala bia kra befa emu aba no also hu say Mmra wo ho Mmra wo ho nti make sure say time bia obeye bibisa no ubefa Mmra kwan so na waye enko ekurase bi enko hye ho enko pe akora bi ase bi onim na ekoso ewo wiase na enkotam no nhye dem na enforce no say onye bibi sama say mmra na kyewa wo ho ebefa wo papa medin e de ekua asante ba mensa Mmra No Se Sen yebesi ehye biem bye bye.